if I could show you a way to solve some of your problems, such as improving the vibration and improving your top bonds and seals and the waterproof and speeding up your process, would this be something that you would be interested in learning more about?
Yes.
Okay. So here's our benefit sheet that we have. 3M VHB tape reduces the weight, and it also creates a tight bond and seal, and it is also has a smooth appearance. So first, you mentioned the vibration. The spinning cycle is causing your rivets and screws to rattle during the spin cycle, and it's causing excessive noise. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, our 3M VHB tape is an alternative to screws and bolts, and it will reduce the amount of vibration because we have this foam. So here is regular general purpose tape, and then here's our 3M VHB tape. So I'm going to have you pull this apart and see. Okay, and that you see that's kind of budging, and then try pulling our 3M VHB tape apart. So it has kind of like a flexible seal, but it isn't coming completely. So since this has this foam appearance and it doesn't cause that rattling noise, and also here is another example. So you see this smooth appearance. This is the 3M VHB tape, and this is the screw. So if you kind of shake that, you can kind of hear that noise from the screws, but you don't hear that with the 3M VHB tape. So secondly, you mentioned that you also need something that is waterproof, and here's our 3M VHB tape. It has liquid inside. So this is our 3M VHB tape. It has that tight bond and seal, and see, you can shake that and notice that there isn't any leaks that comes through that. So it's definitely waterproof. And also, some people have concerns. I know you all work with washers and dryers, but some people have concerns about the heat, maybe with your dryers. It also holds up during heat. We sell a lot of our products to people that do things without the outdoor environment, so they are concerned, with the tape. They don't think that it'll hold up during weather and during certain months, but it is waterproof. It holds up during rain and snow. I know that your product isn't outdoors, but if you do have something outdoors that you need this for, it also is good for that. So it is also good with heat if that is a concern that you'll have with your dryers. And thirdly, I think you mentioned the tight bond and seal that our product has. Well, our 3M VHB tape is proven to be much stronger than the rivets and screws. And so here's this has been setting for a while and days, and it usually takes about 24 hours to have the full effect, but you can kind of pull that apart and see how strong it is. See, it isn't budging. So it is proven to be a lot more stronger than screws and rivets. And lastly, you mentioned you need to reduce the time. So with our 3M VHB tape, it is simply a simple process. So I'm going to have you to peel this off, and once you get that peeled off, you can kind of stick it right here, and I'll show you how that works.
And stick it right here?
Yeah. Okay. So you know how I mentioned that to get the full effect, you kind of have to let it sit 24 hours. But by just sticking this on, you can kind of try pulling that apart just from those few seconds that you did that, and it still isn't budging. So you see that this process only took simply just a few seconds. Well, with our 3M VHB tape, we're also known to be a lot faster than having to use screws and rivets. So it will also reduce the amount of screws and rivets because you have to buy so many of those, and it'll reduce the cost also because you have to get that labor and to put the screws and rivets in and use different tools. With this, you just simply peel a piece of tape off and put that on there. So we kind of covered some of the things that 3M VHB tape can do. We discussed that it is waterproof and that it reduces the vibration, that then screws and rivets is an alternative to that, and also is a much faster process than having to use all the tools and finding the labor to use these screws and rivets and having that manpower, and anybody can simply use this tape. So do you think our 3M VHB tape could be beneficial in helping your company?
Yes, I do believe it will be beneficial.